Stocks tumbled on Wall Street today around the world as fears grow about a slowing U.S. economy and possible recession. The Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped by 1,000 points today. This as Japan's stocks plunged by 12.4%, their worst day since 1987. This follows the news that U.S. employers slowed hiring last month. The Federal Reserve has kept interest rates high to combat inflation. However, the latest events could lead to a cut. For more, let's go to Jeffrey Campbell, professor of economics at the University of Notre Dame. Professor, good to be with you today. So for those who don't really follow the stock market, explain to us why the jobs numbers is triggering this kind of fallout.
Well, jobs numbers in general are going to trigger a reevaluation of the stock market because stocks pay off when the economy is good. And so if there's any indication that the economy is faltering, people are going to begin thinking that corporate profits are going to be lower, and therefore stock payouts are going to be lower. Now, that's the way it works in terms of direction. But these job numbers that we've gotten on Friday are really it's fairly modest news compared to the kind of stock market movements we've seen today, especially in Japan.
Yeah, we mentioned the Nikkei had its worst day since 1987. When was the last time we saw this kind of activity on Wall Street, though?
Oh, same time, about 1987. Well, outside of COVID, that is. But this sort of activity on Wall Street, up or down 2 or 3%, is kind of common for the market. 3% is a little bit on the high side in either direction, but it's not exceptional. The stock market goes through periods of what we call high volatility.
Yeah, and no doubt, though, a lot of people are probably concerned about their 401ks or other investments. What advice would you give them?
Stand pat for now. Right now, what we know in economics is that big changes in the stock market follow big changes. What we can't predict is the sign of those changes. So we saw that it fell 3% today. It could rise or fall again 3% tomorrow. So for the next week or so, we're going to be going through some rough riding. Once that's done, take a moment, and the market finds its new normal. Take a moment and assess whether that's the kind of risk you want to live with. If you're an older person, looking to that 401k as your primary source of income, maybe you should shift it into bonds. If you're a younger person and you've got your whole working life ahead of you, feels normal to take that risk.
We have a little less than a minute left, but a lot of talk about recession now. Should we be worried about it?
I don't really believe so. No more than we were 3 months ago, say. The jobs numbers, the latest jobs numbers haven't been great, but they haven't been terrible. My favorite recession indicator is the Chicago Fed's National Activity Index, and it's been hovering around the point where it says the economy is fragile, but not in recession. And that's what's my assessment, is that a good strike by geopolitical risk or economic downturn elsewhere could put us into recession, but that's not a done deal at this point. We could make it through the next 6 months just fine.
Okay, so what I'm hearing from you, Professor, is don't panic, at least not now.
That's what I always say, yes.
Okay, thank you so much for weighing in. We appreciate it. God bless.
Thank you, Tracy.